Hello again everyone, my name is Derailious, and with Skyblock receiving quite a few quality of life updates over the past year, I think my biggest question going forward is what does Skyblock really need to change over the next year to become even better? So I've compiled a bit of a list, and today I want to tell you about the changes that I believe that Skyblock really needs going forward. Without any further ado, let's get right into this. First of all, I want to hit everyone with a pretty uncontroversial take. I think that the Dark Auction system currently is not great and definitely needs a few changes. The reason why I believe that is because, frankly, it's not good for both non-Iron Man and Iron Man players, and a lot of people need many of the items in the Dark Auction, most notably some of the talismans, and they are frankly prohibitively expensive. The first way I would try to solve this would be by just making the amount of servers in the Dark Auction significantly higher than what exists right now. They tried to do this earlier in the year, and frankly, I don't really think it's had much of an effect. They said that they doubled the amount of servers, but I don't actually believe that that's currently the case, or at least it doesn't feel like it's the case. From my understanding, what they've done is that they've doubled the amount of servers that can exist in theory, but the amount of servers is based on the amount of people currently online, and with player counts going down over the past year, that doesn't seem to have happened. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but people in the comments will definitely correct me. I would say there definitely needs to be at least double, maybe even triple the amount of Dark Auction servers, and probably even needs to be more rounds for different items, and I wouldn't be that shocked if something like a separate Dark Auction for Iron Man players was necessary as well, because frankly, Iron Man players competing with non-Iron Man players over items is kind of stupid and takes away from the point of Iron Man. It'd be pretty cool if they were separated to begin with. This, to a lesser extent, goes for things like Shen's Auction, although I believe that Dark Auction is definitely worse in this regard. Most specifically, I think this is related to the Ender Artifact. I think that item is completely absurd in terms of its price. If you go over to actually where it is, it's about 465 million, and it's an item that's pretty much absolutely necessary if you want to do the Enderman Slayer with any amount of efficiency. Frankly, this item shouldn't even be a Dark Auction item, but it is, and therefore we have to deal with it. For now, I think they should just increase the amount of Dark Auctions that exist. The next item on my list is one that I've had on my list for a while, and that is an equipment wardrobe. It is absolutely ridiculous that in the year of our Lord 2024, going into 2025, we do not have an equipment wardrobe. We have this amazing armor wardrobe that allows us to switch armor whenever we want, but I have to go into my storage like an absolute peasant and look for specific pieces of gear in order to improve my build by 0.5%. That is completely absurd. I feel like a complete and total 18th century peasant when I do it, and I don't want to do it anymore. Now, I understand that a few years ago they tried to do this and there were some issues. I think it was related to the servers just not really working well with it. Well, when we move to 1.20, I'm really hoping we get some sort of equipment wardrobe. It would be incredible. Next up, we have something that I personally think should be added, but I wouldn't be shocked if many of you disagreed with me. I think that many of the current garden plots suck. They are not very efficient, they are definitely not optimized, and they are made for early game players, and that's cool. But I think that once you get to a certain garden level, better and more optimized plots should be unlocked for you. Let's be honest, players do not want to sit there and build their own plots. Maybe a small percentage do, and that's totally fine, but I think we should get a more optimized plot to be included as part of the base game once you get up to a certain garden level. Don't get me wrong, I'm not asking for peak efficiency here, just something better than literally anything you're seeing on my screen right now. Now, what I would also say about this is that it would be absolutely amazing if, for some reason, Hypixel were able to add a way for players who are really good at farming, for example, to upload their farming templates, and for other players to download them and use them on their plots. I don't know how exactly something like that would work, and maybe you could even make it so that good farming players could charge a commission for people to use their templates, for example in the form of coins. I think that would be pretty neat. But I do think something needs to be done with this, because there is an absurd amount of players using things like macros in order to make their plots. Do I think that should happen? Absolutely not. But I do think it's up to Hypixel to actually respond to that and make a solution, and I do think the best solution here is allowing players past a certain garden level to just get good plots out of the gate. Next up, we have something that the admins are already working on, but things like habanero tactics are completely and totally garbage and absolutely need to be reworked. I also think this applies to some of the other ultimate enchants like combo, for example. They are just not very useful in the current game environment. These should absolutely be reworked and looked at definitely by the admins relatively soon, and I imagine that after Habanero Tactics gets reworked, I wouldn't be that shocked if there was a combat pass at some point and many of these weaker ultimate enchants got looked at. An ultimate enchant should feel ultimate, and if you're going to use it, it should be good. It shouldn't be like a scale between like combo in terms of efficiency and chimera on the other end, which is just obviously the best. There should be some more in the middle and some more that are relatively strong, and it just feels like there aren't too many in that upper echelon, at least not at the moment. Obviously, this is kind of up to discretion. If you're using, a certain item and a certain piece of content, a certain ultimate enchant may be better, but there are just a few that I feel like aren't particularly strong at the moment and could definitely use some love. For our last point today, I kind of want to discuss tier 7 enchants, and frankly, I think the way you acquire the majority of them just doesn't work for the long term. They are entirely random, they're found in the majority by doing the enchanting minigame, and frankly, I think it's a pretty boring way to get some of the best enchantments in the game. Many of these should be moved to things like Slayers, Kudra, Dungeons, pretty much any other content in the game that can offer high-level rewards, and frankly, I just don't like the idea of the majority of those enchants being just a pure RNG system. The vast majority of people, especially those on Iron Man, will be completely locked out of ever getting those items, and they are pretty strong. They are deserving of their title as tier 7 enchants, so it'd be nice to see them moved around a little bit. I think a lot of them have potential to be moved over to Kudra, specifically because of the attribute update that's eventually going to be dropping. Kudra does need a few new items to round out its loot pool, and that would definitely be a way to do it. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think about enchantments in this game as a whole? Personally, if you want my view, I think there's too many enchantments in the game as a whole right now, and they've already added like a lot in the last few years. I wouldn't be that shocked if with the foraging update we got even more. I just think that there's a little bit of bloat in that department, and I would love to see some things, tuned down or maybe streamlined in the future. But I definitely think with tier 7s in specific, they are just not in a great spot at the moment. Basically a complete RNG pull. Once again, would love to hear your thoughts. Overall, I definitely think Skyblock is moving in the right direction, because if you asked me this same question a year ago, many other items would be on this list. I think things like Unsoul Binding would be on the list for sure, Trophy Fishing would definitely have taken too long, and I don't think mining was in a great state a year ago. It goes to show that these quality of life updates do end up meaning something, even if for many players, they're not enough. Hopefully we see some more major content going forward, because I would love to get involved in terms of things like the foraging update. I really hope that gets dropped relatively soon, although once again, we'll have to wait and see. Make sure you leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Obviously it's a little bit different than normal Skyblock news, and at the end of the day, my name is Derailious. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and look to the future fellas, because I will see you then.